And that's what helped me a lot, the academic instruction, the knowing that the teachers actually cared and they actually wanted me to succeed. And like I said, it fostered a sense of community. That environment allowed me to thrive and allowed me to discover skills that I didn't even know I had or I ever imagined. It allowed me to believe in myself.
The education landscape is constantly evolving. Staying ahead of the trends is essential. Welcome to EdBuzz LA County, where we explore groundbreaking initiatives, inspiring stories, and innovative practices shaping the future of learning here in Southern California. Today, we're focusing on the Migrant Education Program, an initiative that supports students whose families move frequently for agriculture work. These students often face unique challenges, from interrupted schooling to language barriers, but with the right support, they thrive. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Graswich, Executive Director of Public Affairs and Communications. Joining me today are LACOE's Jacqueline Lopez, Migrant Education Program Director 3. Welcome, Jackie.
Thank you.
And Pedro Hernandez, Migrant Education's Identification and Recruitment Supervisor. Welcome, Pedro.
Thank you.
Thank you both for being here. Pedro, we're going to start with you. I'm really excited because you have a story that you can share that I think really illuminates the importance of this work. You started out as a migrant student and then have come into work in our field here. Can you share a little bit about your journey?
Yes, thank you. Well, my journey begins in the San Fernando Valley in Van Nuys, where I grew up, and mostly without a father. My father, at a very young age, when I was about 3 or 4, abandoned us. He was an alcoholic. He actually abused my mother verbally, mentally, and physically, and she was left stranded to raise 4 children on her own. And then as any mother would, she tried her best. She sacrificed a lot coming to this country all alone. So with that, she did her best and would always try to find opportunities to provide for us, whether it be working 2 to 3 jobs. Eventually she was led to believe that that American dream can be continued in a small town called Kelseyville, California, in about 2 hours west from Sacramento, where she was led astray because she wasn't able to locate or to find that American dream for her and for her children. It was a struggle. We moved from the city to a country town, a small town, where we struggled to adapt on all aspects and levels of life. We were living for a while in an abandoned farmhouse where there wasn't heat, so we had to boil water to bathe, just to bathe. The restrooms were outside, so we had to create our own toilets in the middle of the night, just so we won't have to go outside. And school was another challenge. We had to struggle with adapting to the curriculum over there in Northern California. It was different. It caused a lot of disruption with our studies, and we were falling behind. We were also English learners, so at the time we were struggling to be at the level that we were supposed to when it came to reading comprehension and all the standards that California has. We were falling behind. With that struggle, and oftentimes too, we were moving from place to place, and we ultimately landed in a hotel. We got kicked out of the abandoned house. We had to live in a hotel far away from where our school was at, and we would have to wake up like around 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, just to get 2 to 3 buses, just so we can get to a bus stop at 6:37 in the morning. So then that bus can go around for another hour, collect students, and then also drop us off at our schools. We did that for about 4 or 5 months, and at the end, we didn't last, and my mom decided to take herself and her 4 children with her by herself back to Southern California, and we were living with relatives. As often some of these migrant families do, still to this day, live with relatives just so that they can stay afloat and cover costs and cover rent. So with all that constant move and changing from city to city, place to place, apartment to apartment, we didn't stay at an apartment. Our pattern, our trend was about a year and a half before we would have to constantly move. And that was all because whenever the rent was high, my mom had to find a cheaper apartment or a place more affordable for us to move within the city. Even when we came back to Southern California, we landed in Long Beach with relatives, and I grew up, and our siblings grew up in neighborhoods that were filled with gangs, violence, drugs, and imagine being an 8-year-old being exposed to drugs, and someone creeping up behind you and telling you that either one day you're going to grow up to either use them or to sell them. And at that point, that moment, that was a turning point in my life, because I wanted to decide that, no, you don't decide that for me. I'm going to take matters into my own hands, and I'm not going to fall into that life, which I easily could have fallen into, the pressures and just being surrounded by gangs, violence, drugs, in those neighborhoods where we would afford. That's the only place that we could afford to live at. It was so easy just to fall into that temptation. But thankfully, I grew up with mentors, with educators that believed in me, as spiritual leaders, and the Migrant Education Program, who ultimately provided these opportunities for me. So when I graduated high school, I actually participated in a sister program called the College Assistance Migrant Program, in which they helped me provide the same support that they were providing me in high school and in grade school, with enough resources to complete my first year, but also complete college. And I got my degree. But while I was after I finished my freshman year in college, I had an opportunity to intern for the Los Angeles County Office of Education as an intern for the Migrant Education Program. And all of which, when I went into it, I felt I had no chance, because I saw the candidates that were being interviewed, and I personally felt that they were more qualified. They were still to this day, I compared myself. I thought I was below what they were. They were just high academically. They were straight A students in college. They were just amazing all around. And I felt like I wasn't good enough. But the county and the Migrant Education Program, they saw the potential in me, and they gave me a chance. And then after that, I became I had some part-time roles with the Migrant Education Program. Ultimately, I had a full-time position in 2016, around the same time I graduated college. And then I recently became the Identification and Recruitment Supervisor for the Migrant Education Program here at the Los Angeles County Office of Ed.
What an amazing story, and a story of perseverance. I know our superintendent, Dr. Eduardo, always talks about how education is really the game changer. And I mean, what a beautiful thing to know that was the case for you, and that now you're giving back to others. And I'm sure that resonates so much with the people you work with, because, they know you understand, right?
Absolutely.
And understand the experience. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
And so, Jackie, can you kind of tell a little bit about the definition of like what migrant ed is and what the work is that you all do?
Yeah, so just like the story that Pedro has just shared about resiliency and overcoming a lot of challenges, we have a lot of our students can share a very similar story of struggle and overcoming barriers, and really having the Migrant Education Program to really support them in all of their academic goals, their life goals. So as a program, I like to say that not only do we offer the services, the tutoring, the academic supports, the social emotional supports, but it's really a program that creates community for our families that oftentimes feel disenfranchised. They're lacking that sense of of family or that sense of community within their schools. I like to sometimes refer to them as the hidden population of students that oftentimes could be easily missed within our school districts. So having a program such as Migrant Education really offers an opportunity for us to connect the students to those services and to ensure that they are being successful in hitting their academic targets and that they are able to successfully plan a future, whether it means going to college or a trade school or having the life skill sets that they need to succeed in life.
And are there federal or state laws that protect migrant students?
Well, obviously, all children have a right to, regardless of their immigration status, to public education. But additionally, under Title I, Part C, that is the law that really ensures that we are providing the necessary extra supports that our students with migratory lifestyles that oftentimes have disruption in their education due to economic necessity, families needing to move in and out of the county or out of the region in search of employment. Through that law, it ensures that schools are really there as an opportunity to fill in those gaps and to offer the extra supports that they may need. And it's not just academics, but it's really their health, their mental health, social and emotional supports, and like I said, forming that community for them. And additionally now, with the new laws that have been passed from our California governor, really creating additional protections and safe havens for our students, which is something that we have been promoting with our students and families to ensure that they don't discontinue or stop attending services or participating in fear of immigration enforcement coming on campus. So really helping them understand that we do have additional laws that are protecting them, keeping them safe, and really trying to eliminate the fear that is out there in our community, and using our schools as a greater opportunity for us to connect and outreach, because we know that if anything else, families will continue to go to schools as a place where they still feel safe versus maybe some of our previous locations, community events, or other areas where we might have been connecting or attempting to connect with our migrant eligible families. Now schools have become that safe space or that safe haven for all of our families and students.
It's such important work, and I know even with the show, we're hoping to educate people about the work and the different factors around it. So, one question for you, Pedro, is,
Yes.
What does a student do or need to have to qualify for migrant ed services?
So a child has to be any child under the age of 22 years old and that is entitled to a free public education can qualify. That's just one of the first requirements or factors for requirement and of eligibility. The second one is that they have to have moved. So it's migrants, so they have to have moved from across school district boundaries and also from one city to another city. And then the third and most important probably has to be that they themselves or their parent or legal guardian or household member that's responsible for those children, that they engage in qualifying temporary or seasonal agricultural or fishing work. And after that is set, then they potentially can qualify for the program. But it is also very important to note that immigration status has nothing to do with the eligibility of the program. So we don't ask that as part of the screening or as part of the interview that we sit down with the migratory worker or the parent or guardian. None of that is asked. We just ask whether or not they meet the basic requirements and eligibility criteria for the program.
I would imagine that, just making sure that families even know it's an option for them is somewhat of a challenge, right? And so how do we do that through our schools? How do we make sure that, the families actually get connected to the services?
I would say, obviously, through some of our existing district service agreement districts, here from LACOE, our Migrant Education Office, we generate a lot of outreach material. We get posters that we have them placed throughout their offices, school on campuses, brochures. They have different mechanisms by which those particular districts are able to get the information out, whether it's through parent meetings, school-wide events that they may host, and they have their own staff within those districts that are able to accomplish that task. But we also additionally will support those districts with those district service agreements or the MOU districts, where we will have our staff, our regional recruitment staff, that will go and man a table or attend an event or provide an overview presentation at their DLAC, ELACs, any opportunity where we might be able to get the word out to the parent community. Additionally, here in our offices, we're attempting different strategies for really getting the word out regionally, because we also have districts that are not currently receiving funds from our grant. Nevertheless, they have students that are eligible within those districts. We have about 25 of those existing districts that we're attempting to increase the outreach, the communication, the awareness that this service is available. And so one of our recent strategies was to create a virtual office hour. We're calling it Connect and Chat with MEP, or Migrant Education Program. And the idea is for some of those staff members from those districts to come and learn more about our program and give us an opportunity to provide them our outreach material, our pamphlets, our flyers, and to give us an opportunity to present at their local districts as a way to get the word out.
It's such a, the number always, is so astonishing, right? Because even when you share with people, I know when we talk to people and we say we have 80 school districts, but to think that you're still dealing with 25 that don't have the grant opportunity, it's a lot of districts to be supporting and trying to get the word out. Pedro, let me ask you, and you'll know this both personally as well as professionally, what is the differentiator? What are the different experiences for a migrant ed student versus maybe a non-migrant ed learner?
Well, as a migrant ed student, being that we moved around a lot so frequently, it caused a lot of disruption for us academically. So we were falling behind in all levels of education. We weren't reading at the level that we should be as compared to others maybe who had stability. We weren't comprehending. We weren't maybe even speaking the language correctly as English learners. So as opposed to others who maybe had that stability with that our non-migrant students have, and they have the opportunity to access resources, have support from their teachers, from educators. When you're on the move, you don't have that. You have difficulty finding those resources because you're trying to see what you're going to be eating for dinner, and then the next day if you're going to be going to school, and for migrant students and families, having the knowledge of resources of where to go, and the limited resources that when it comes to financial resources, housing, healthcare, all of that is not easy to attain, especially when you're on the move, but as opposed to maybe students who are not migrant and they have that there, they have the resources, they have the support available to them at school. A lot of our migrant families don't even know that we exist sometimes, and that's for trying to help them, trying to reach them, and they struggle because they're fearful of actually just going to school and saying, "Hey, I need help I need some water for my family," and the amazing testimonies that we see from our regional recruiters and our district recruiters as well, is that they go above and beyond their scope of work to actually provide and help as many, even if in their eyes and their mind, it's not a lot, like taking a case of water to a family who's afraid to leave their home, to ask for any resources, to ask for food or even shelter. Those type of resources that migrant ed students and families lack, and at school the same way with support instruction. We know it can be difficult for teachers just to assess their whole classroom and see which students need more help, which students need the extra attention, and that's when we exist for, and that's where we come in and we provide that supplemental instruction and academic support for our students so that they can get together with those students and close that achievement gap.
So just amazing work. So important because students really do need just basic things, right, in order to learn and be successful. So, I know we just talked about, how we can help get the word out to families. What other things does LACOE do to support our districts in migrant education?
Yeah, so I think in terms of the districts that we currently work with, we do support them in developing their plans every year, creating really enriching and meaningful learning experiences that are really going to capture the attention of these students that are typically there, obviously, the full day of school. So when we're offering after school services or a Saturday program or a summer school program, it's really trying to create something that's going to be of high interest, high motivation, and therefore yield high learning. So we'll plan and we'll help our districts develop those plans where they're creating STEM programs or a film production program, or one of our big programs in our region is the speech and debate, which every year we have students from all of our districts participating in a regional competition tournament, and then those winners get to compete at a state competition. We'll design programs such as the close-up excursion, where students get to go for a week to Washington, D.C. and experience civic education firsthand. Our annual outdoor ed camp, things that are really they're transformational experiences. These are not your typical learning programs that you see in your K-12 programming, but rather something that's really going to change the lives of students and really get them excited about continuing to pursue their academics. So that's how we support those districts, and like I said, the districts with the MOUs as well. And then for those districts that currently have those students that are what we call regional students, we coordinate a lot of services here from LA County Office of Education. And so some of the ones that I just mentioned are exclusive to our regional office. But that's how we support them, and we also extend those invitations to those districts as well. So it's not just our regional students, but rather the districts that are receiving funding as well. But yeah, there's a series of other things that we coordinate from our office, such as mental health supports. We have a part-time mental health specialist that upon referrals can provide additional supports. We support our districts with the parent leadership program, parent mentor program, where we offer a district's parent workshops on a variety of topics to really help those parents support their children's academic growth, literacy topics, math, etc. And then part of that is also providing support with leadership development through our annual parent conferences. We also coordinate parent leadership retreats, and then through our very active Regional Parent Advisory Council, we're continuously developing the leadership capacity of our parents, who then are able to go back to their districts and not only advocate for migrant ed students, but also get involved in other committees and also support other program development at their districts.
That's really wonderful. I mean, you're not just helping schools and teachers and students, but also parents. It's pretty incredible. And Pedro, from your experience, what do you think of all these things are the biggest game changer, or what were the biggest game changer for you?
Well, for me personally, I think going back to the limited resources, we I wish I could have participated in most of the activities that we're offering currently, like the youth summit, the speech and debate. I felt like I could have even, the sky would have been the limit for me if I had the opportunity. But one of the reasons why I wasn't able to is because, we lacked the resources. So we didn't have transportation or reliable transportation to get to LACOE, to get to these classes or these programs where they were being offered at. But what we did have is public transportation, and we were moving. When we were in Long Beach, we would take public transportation on Saturday. So the Saturday instruction and Saturday school academies that they had in the Long Beach Unified School District Migrant Education Program, that's what benefited me and helped me personally. It helped provide the supplemental instruction that I needed to just get closer and close that achievement gap and to get to the level that I needed to be academically. But it also provided an environment that was that fostered a sense of belonging and a community. So it made me feel a little bit more stable. And I'm thankful for the teachers and obviously the Migrant Education Program as a whole, because they help support the districts, provide that type of instruction and service for our students in the districts in which they reside. And that's what helped me a lot, the academic instruction, the knowing that the teachers actually cared and they actually wanted me to succeed. And like I said, it fostered a sense of community. That environment allowed me to thrive and allowed me to discover skills that I didn't even know I had or I ever imagined. It allowed me to believe in myself. It allowed me to have that confidence and to build on that resiliency. So I think just the Saturday Academy, the Saturday schools in the Long Beach Unified School District, the Migrant Education Program helped me a lot personally. And I think you talk about what success stories that we see from students who are participating in the speech and debate program. They were shy students. I was a shy student as well when I entered, when I was attending the Saturday School Academy, and I was just trying to be less noticeable in the back. I had a hoodie. I would just put my head in the desk, bury my head in the desk. And some of these kids are the same. They're same kids that we still serve to this day. They're still Migrant Education Program students. So with that, I think that the speech and debate program helps a lot. We recently had a youth summit conference for the students, and we had a powerful speakers, we had an author, and then we also had a freedom writer, an actual freedom writer, come and speak to our students to help motivate them and their parents as well to continue with that resiliency amidst all the adversity that they may encounter, all the challenges, all the obstacles and barriers that they themselves, they too can get an education. They too can be successful, and they don't have to be confined due to the circumstances in which they live in or what they were brought up to be. They themselves can actually be a difference if they believe in themselves and they actually start doing the work and thriving. So
yes.
It's so inspiring. And, you hit on so many different things. And one of them, or a couple of them, particularly of, we can offer the programs, but we have to recognize too that there's a lot of barriers to accessing them and how we can remove barriers to help that. But also, I think we talk about it in almost every show we have of, the need for kids to feel like they belong somewhere and have a community and to be providing that. And look, you can just hear it in your voice of what it's done for you and your excitement around it now. So Jackie, if for families that are watching this or are aware of this, what can they do to get involved or access resources? What would be your advice to them?
Well, I would definitely recommend that they get in touch with us. So they can reach us at mep@lacoe.edu via email, or they could also call our office, and the number for that is 562-922-6164. And we have a dedicated staff that is ready to take their calls and engage in an intake process to determine eligibility. And if they're not eligible, we always refer them to other resources as well. But once determining their eligibility, we have them enrolled, and that gives us an opportunity to stay in touch with them via regular communication, whether it's emails, phone calling, just to ensure that they're informed of all of the upcoming events, all of the services that are being offered, and to really entice them to take advantage of as many resources as possible. So once we establish that relationship, which our recruiters are amazing at establishing trust, relationships with our families, and ensuring that they are indeed providing them all of the necessary supports that they need, whether it's the academic programs that we're offering or any other community type resources that are available for them.
Well, and I can imagine that there's also a number of people that are watching this and just like me feel inspired by what's being shared. Is there a way that people can donate or volunteer their time to help?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. So every year we raise funds for the Migrant Education Student Scholarship Fund. And this is for our graduating seniors. Every year we've hosted an annual reception, a banquet, where our parent community will raise funds, but we also are always in search of other donors that can donate directly onto our Migrant Education page on the LACOE website.
And why are these scholarships so important for these students?
Yes, I would say that for many of our students, obviously they're experiencing economic hardship. So any help that we can obtain for them to support them in their educational endeavors is helpful. I know for them, just this last year, we observed that many of them were fearful of applying for student financial aid, for fear of their immigration status being revealed. Therefore, we found it a need to really reach out to and extend our outreach to local companies and businesses. So we did have Vallarta Market, who stepped up and provided a pretty considerable donation that allowed us to provide a total of 11 scholarships to our students last year. Prior to their donation, I think we were coming up with enough money to honor about 3 students with the scholarship. So that was very significant. And so we're really looking for as many individuals that are willing to support the dreams of our students and to really make possible, going to college a reality and to help with whatever expenses. I mean, as we know, everything is expensive, books, parking, whatever they can contribute to towards that with that scholarship.
That's awesome. And, before we close, Pedro, I just want to ask you, I know you talk to young people who probably remind you of yourself and your own story.
Yes.
What advice do you give them?
I tell all of them to dream big. Dream big. I thought that my path just ended at high school. That my journey was my goal in life was just to complete high school and then go straight into the workforce. But this program gave me the ability and the confidence to expand and dig deep and to find these hidden talents that I never even thought I ever have or could even imagine that I had. To dream big, to go above, beyond what you think your life is set to be. Don't be confined to your surroundings or to any circumstances that you may have in your life. Dream big. You don't know, you never know what you can achieve until you dream it and you can start living and working on it. But you have to put the effort. You have to work. So not only dream, but also take the first step into action just to actually get better. So if there's resources out there, if there's educational programs just like this marvelous and excellent program that I work for and I'm currently giving back for, if there's any program that's out there, especially that can help you with your goals, go out there and take the first step and reach out and ask for help. But I always tell them to dream big. You're never, ever, ever fully aware of what you could possibly do until you start dreaming big. And I tell them that sometimes you're dealt with maybe a not so good hand in life, but through your perseverance and through your desire to dream big and to be successful, you can go ahead and achieve those dreams.
Well, thanks to both of you so much. I mean, this is the kind of work that is just really at the heart of what we do at LACOE. And so it's just beautiful work that you're doing to support our young people. So I want to thank Jackie and Pedro for sharing your insights and experiences. Today's conversation reminds us that education is not just about academics. It's about opportunity, resilience, and community. If you'd like to learn more about the Migrant Education Program, visit LACOE's website at www.lacoe.edu, where you can also donate or sign up to volunteer. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Grasswich. I'll see you next time on EdBuzz.